Hi, I'm Susan Matusiak from the decorating room, and today I'd like to show you how to make a frozen buttercream transfer. And we have a sample for you right here. Now to get started, what we need to do is have a pattern for you to work with. Frozen buttercream transfers, you can take any type of cartoon character, pictures or pictures off the internet or coloring books. But what we need to do is make a reverse or a mirror image of our pattern. So I had my picture drawn, and what I'm going to do is flop it over, and I kind of keep a white sheet of paper underneath because it's a little easier to see the designs. And then with a pencil, all you need to do is transfer the reverse image onto paper. So we're just going to transfer it over. You may have something very simple, or like I'm doing, or maybe something very intricate, but you want to get all the markings of your design so that we'll be able to outline our pattern and fill it in. It's very similar to doing color flow or piping gel transfers. But this one here will be frozen, and you can do it the day of that you need it, or you can have it sit in your freezer for 24 hours and it's ready to place right on your cake. So here we have the reverse image, and then what I'm going to do is you need a flat surface to work on. I'm using a plexiglass. You can use the back of a cookie sheet. You can use a cutting board, something that's movable because you'll have to move it into your freezer. And then what we'll do is we're going to tape it onto your surface, and then you want to keep it nice and flat so the lines lay flat. And then we're going to take wax paper and cover it with the wax paper, and then you'll be doing your piping right on top of the wax paper. We'll just cut a sheet. I prefer to keep the wax paper just taped on the top of the surface, not to fold over, because you tend to get too many creases in that. So kind of keep it just cut to the top, and then again tape this down firmly with some tape, and then we'll be ready to start piping our frozen buttercream transfer. Next, we're going to start outlining our design. You may want to outline it in black or dark brown, usually a darker color. I know one of the common complaints are the black or dark colors tend to bleed when you freeze them or refrigerate them. The black decorating icing in the tube works very well. I've done a number of these with the black tube icing, and it has not bled at all. Works very, very well. And all you do is rip off the seal, and you can use one of your regular tips. I have a tip 4 and a coupler ring, and it attaches right on, and you're ready to work with it. So what we're going to do is just outline, and you may want to also have a little brush in case you need it to smooth down your lines a little bit. So we're going to just squeeze an outline and just do a drop outline on your wax paper. And we're going to outline the complete design. This is pretty simple, this one here. If you have an intricate one, you might want to use a tip 2. I'm using a tip 4 on this one. We're going to outline all our lines. Make sure you touch when you start and finish so the lines all connect. And then if you need to, you could take your brush and just kind of pat it down a little bit. Now we're ready to fill in our frozen buttercream transfer with buttercream. One thing you need to know is when you're working with this, you need a buttercream that is half butter to your shortening. If you use solid vegetable shortening, it's not going to freeze as solid. You need some butter in your recipe, so you kind of need like half butter, half shortening in your buttercream recipe. I have two colors here, green and brown. I have a tip 4 that I'm going to use to fill in, and all you're going to need to do is I start at the outlines filling in. Get as close as you can, and we're going to fill these in. If you don't get all the way to the points, we're going to come back with a brush and push the icing into it, and then kind of zigzag to fill in the area that you have. And then with my brush, you're going to be able to push it up to that outline. If you go beyond the outline, it'll be fine because you're not going to see it when you flip this over. And then you can also take an angled spatula and kind of go over and smooth it a little bit if you need to kind of push the icing down and fill in any of the possible air bubbles you might have or little gaps that you may not be seeing. And then we're going to continue on and do the different colors that you have in your design. Like I said, fill in along the outline first. That kind of helps because you're kind of pushing that icing there, and then kind of fill in the center. When you're finished, this is going to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. And then just kind of smooth it down, just to kind of flatten it a little bit to fill in any of the spaces below. Now that I have my turtle completely decorated with icing, I have to put a finished coat on top. And what you're going to need to do is, one, we're going to outline it in white or whatever color your cake is, because that's going to show through on your design when you flip it over. And then we're going to ice the top smooth. And what's going to happen, it's going to, I have a tip 4 in here. Well, you could do a 4 or 5 depending. And we're just going to run the line of icing. I kind of run it on the very edge of the black outline. I'm going to run it all the way around. If your cake is iced in yellow, you would do yellow because you want it to kind of blend in with your cake. And we're going to run all along the edge and fill it in. And then we're going to fill the complete top with white. And then after, we will put it in our freezer and let it set up. So we did the outline, and then I'm just going to come back and do big zigzags and kind of fill this in. It will be, when we're done, about 1/2 inch thick with the icing. It was a 1/4 inch thick with our first layer, and now with our second with the white, it's going to be about 1/2 inch thick. And we're going to smooth this down, kind of press just gently the icing and fill this so that you're not going to see any of your color. And you can use disposable bags or parchment bags for this. Either one works very well. Then we're going to take our angled spatula and we're just going to come across, push it around so you cover all your color, and fill in this whole thing nice and smooth. Kind of keep it pretty level, because remember, this is going to be the side that's going to go up against your cake, and you'll have your buttercream cake iced. And we're going to smooth this down, and then we're going to place it in the freezer for at least 90 minutes. I've done it overnight and has worked out very well. When you place this on your cake, if you're in a very humid area, you might want to refrigerate your cake after you put this on the transfer, because you might get some condensation through the humid area. If you're in a drier area, you shouldn't have this problem. But I have frozen this for overnight and placed it on because you want it nice and hard. This is very similar to if you did a color flow, except it's a reverse, and it's really something you could do the day of if you forget to or need a design. Okay, so we're just going to smooth this down nicely, about like that, and then we're going to place this in the freezer for at least 90 minutes. We have our cake iced already, and we have our bottom border on, and we have our frozen transfer already. It's been in the freezer overnight. I'm kind of loosening the edges a little bit of the wax paper to kind of loosen it off. This should be pretty solid, and we should be able to, I'm going to kind of pick them up, and I'm going to kind of flop them onto my cake. And then I'm going to slowly remove the wax paper. There we go. And I need a little finishing touch. His eyes, I didn't actually put his eyes on, so I'm just going to add with my black color his two little eyes here. Have that ready. And then we're going to finish off our cake and do just our shells with a tip 21 in your buttercream. And this way here you have a nice design, and you can see how that white outline that we placed on here actually worked out very well, because it does kind of blend in right with your cake, and you don't have to worry about the black bleeding onto your cake this way. And again, if you're in a very humid area, you may want to finish off your cake and then place it in the refrigerator until it's time to serve. If not, it can sit out and it should be fine for a day. And this works very nice for a lot of different designs. Maybe you have some lettering you want to do. You can try with the buttercream, the Frozen Buttercream Transfer.